We're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Battle for Zendikar expansion for Arena of the Planeswalkers. It's an interesting new expansion, adds a little bit to the base game, has a 3-player scenario in there, and gives you some more options for building your units. Just for comparison, next to the original game box, it's a decent sized box for the expansion. On the back they give you an overview of what comes in there and some descriptions. It does require that you have the original game in order to play. First thing I'm going to mention is that the box is considerably cheaper made than the original. It's much thinner cardboard, and it is a top opening, side opening, instead of a lift-off box, which is terrible design for a game in my opinion. But you're probably going to take everything out of here and store it in the main box anyway, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, unlike the base game, the insert is basically made to be tossed out on this one because some of the figures in here, like the Ruiner here and the Eldrazi Spawn, come unassembled. These are actually bases here. And once you put them together, they're not going to fit back in the insert anyway. We have our 2 new Plainswalkers there. I can't get her to show because of the lighting, but I'll show you better up close up later. With the expansion, you get a new set of unit cards. I haven't even opened the shrink wrap on them yet. And you get a new set of spell cards. Now the annoying thing, these 2 actually come loose in the box. There's no little slot in here for them like there was in the other. They're just tucked underneath the insert here. So they kind of flop around in the box. Again, you're going to need something else, a storage solution for these. Probably whatever you're using for the original ones, because there's nowhere to store them in here. And then we have our manual, which again was really disappointing compared to the original. Now granted, it doesn't have the actual how to play rules that are all in the original book. This is just for the expansion. There's a little bit of fluff lore there. There's assembly instructions on how to put together the figures. A little background history on our 2 new Plainswalkers. And some new additional rules for using the multicolored Plainswalkers and the new colorless stuff, as well as larger armies. And this is the part that kind of disappointed me. There's only a single scenario in the book, unlike the original one, which had like 20, I think. And it's a 3-player scenario, which is kind of cool. 1 player plays the Eldrazi and 2 Plainswalkers against them. Tells you how to set up the battlefield. And then on the back, you have stats for the Ruiner for the scenario, as well as a bunch of special rules. Would have liked to have seen a lot more scenarios. There's plenty they could have done with the Zendikar plane to come up with some new scenarios and different game types to play. Very disappointed in only the single scenario, but you can always build your own stuff as well. So for our new Planeswalker, we have Ob Nixilis, Demon of Spite. Kind of a cool guy. It's an interesting guy. The paint jobs seem to have improved quite a bit over the original one. There's still some mistakes like here on his nails, but much better than the original set, I think. The shape of these cards makes it hard to get on there, but there you can see his card. It's a mono black Planeswalker. 8 life, 6 move, 1 range, 5 attack, 4 defend. He of course can fly. We had a Phoenixes in the original set, so flying's not really anything new. And his other special abilities: at any price, destroy target squad creature adjacent to Ob Nixilis. Its controller draws a card. Use this ability once per turn. Makes him pretty vicious, as he can pretty much outright destroy a creature every turn, in addition to his normal. So you could do an attack, kill a guy off, use that, kill a guy off. Makes him an extremely powerful Planeswalker. Next we have Kiora, the Rising Tide. Really like the way that the water fades to clear onto the base. Definitely a nice model. Again, the paint job's much nicer on these than on the original box set. My only fear for her is that this trident of hers is actually very thin and flexible. So you're going to have to find a decent way to store her so that that doesn't become bent. And there we have the card for Kiora. And you can see here it's our first multicolor Planeswalker, meaning you can use both green and blue units when building your armies. She has 6 life, 5 movement, a range of 6, which is nice. 4 attack, 4 defend. Her special abilities are Seaborn, can move through water spaces without stopping, and gets +2 defense while in water. Carried by waves, at the start of your turn you can move a creature you control up to 4 spaces. Very nice. And Bident of Thassa. Once per game, when Kiora ends her turn in water, you may reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put a sorcery from among them in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Not an incredibly powerful ability, but definitely a useful one at certain times. Now, unlike the original box set where you got 2 units for each Planeswalker, this set actually comes with 1 new unit for each color, meaning you can use the goblins here with your existing Chandra from the base game to customize your army a bit. Same with the core captain here, can be used alongside of Gideon. It also means that there isn't enough here to build a complete army for either of the 2 Planeswalkers that come with this set. So you're going to have to use some of the cards and units from your starter set in order to build their armies. Kiora is kind of an oddball since she is multicolor. You could use the blue and the green that comes with this, but you can also use any of the ones from the base set as well. First up, we have our Path Wardens, which are our new green unit. Believe they're elves. And the Path Wardens are the first time we've only gotten 2 units in a squad instead of 3. But there's your 2. 3 life, 6 move, range 1, 3 attack, 5 defend. And they have an ability Escort. Each small or medium creature you control adjacent to the Path Wardens can be attacked by only adjacent figures. For our blue unit, we have the Merfolk Royal Mage. He's what they call a hero unit. He's by himself. Means he's extremely powerful creature, but you only get the 1. And there's our Merfolk Royal Mage. You can see their hero creature. 6 life, movement of 5, range 6, 4 attack, 3 defend. He's right on par with some of the Planeswalkers as far as stats go. He has the ability Seaborn. He can move through water spaces without stopping, gets a +2 while in water. Same ability that Kiora has. And Part Waters. Friendly figures may move through empty water spaces adjacent to Merfolk Royal Mage without stopping their movement. It's really nice when they have that one river that's only 1 hex wide. He can stand there and it basically lets your opponent, or lets your other units walk right by without stopping. Next we have the Core Aeronaut Captain. This guy's actually really cool. There's tons of detail in here. I've seen some people do some amazing jobs painting up the figures from the original set. I can't wait to see what people end up doing with him painted. I suck at painting myself, but I'm sure you could do some amazing things with the amount of detail on the guy here. And there's our Core Aeronaut Captain. Again, he's a hero creature, so he's all by himself. 6 life, 6 move, 1 range, 6 attack, 3 defend. He has flying. Ride the Currents, which whenever the core captain moves to a lower elevation during his movement phase for the first time each turn, you get +3 movement until the end of turn. And Air Raid. Before moving the Core Aeronaut Captain, choose an adjacent small or medium squad creature you control. After you move the Aeronaut Captain, place the chosen squad or creature on an empty space adjacent to him. Use this ability only once per turn. Basically lets him carry somebody, drop them off. Next we have our Goblin Javeliners. They're really hard to get a decent angle on here. Small little guys. And the red really makes the camera not want to pick up any of the detail. They're not quite as detailed as some of the other figures we've gotten here. See a little bit on there. Their backs are to you now, but another one that'll look better when they're painted up and you can really see some of the details on there. But again, I like the fact that they use 3 different sculpts instead of one just repeated like most games would do. All of the figures in Arena of the Planeswalkers so far have been unique sculpts, even the ones that come in units of 3. Every single guy is modeled differently, which is just a really neat little feature they did there. There's our Goblin Javeliners. 3 life, 5 move, range 1, 4 attack, 2 defend. Pretty respectable attack, to be honest. They have ability Volatile Hedron Javelin. Choose a Goblin Javeliner you control, target a creature up to 6 clear sight spaces away, roll the 20-sided die. On a 1-3, deal 1 damage to chosen Javeliner. Apparently it blows up in his hand. On a 4-15, deal 1 damage to the chosen target creature. And on a 16-20, deal 2 damage to the target creature. Use this ability only once per turn. The nice thing is this special ability does not count as a normal attack, so they don't get to roll defense. So being able to inflict 1 or 2, possibly 2 damage on something without them getting any way to defend against it is a really nice ability. The small chance of hurting yourself, though, pretty fitting for goblins, though. And then next we have Malakir Blood Chasers. These guys are vampires this time around instead of zombies for black. Really cool looking guys. Definitely another one that can use painting to make them really pop and stand out. I may take a chance at actually painting some of these figures. I play the game enough, it might be worth it for me. And there's our Malakir Blood Chasers. 2 life, 6 movement, range 1, 4 attack, 3 defend. They have lifelink, which is really cool. Whenever they attack, for each damage they deal to a defending figure, remove a damage marker from the Malakir Blood Chaser. This was talked about in the forums. I still play it the way that the Magic game is played, is it's damage inflicted, not how much life the target has. So if you deal 4 damage and the target only has 1 life, you would still heal for 4. Now granted they only have 2, but you get the idea. I think that's the way it's supposed to be played, but they don't really spell it out. The issue actually came up with a white magic card from the original set that it's an enchantment that gives somebody lifelink. But anyway, it's still a really powerful ability. And the other thing to keep in mind is if they defend and they block a hit, then no damage was inflicted, so those hits don't count. Next we have Scent of Blood. When attacking, gain +1 hit if the defending figure already has a damage marker on it. That's a really nice thing. So once you hurt something, you're already getting +1 hit on top of the possible 4 that you can inflict. So very nice there. Next up we have our Ruiner. Comes unassembled. You just need to pop this arm on. There's a little knob on here that kind of latches in there. I may glue it on. It doesn't stay in place very well, and if you're going to try storing it in this original tray, you're going to have to take this off every time, and I'm just afraid it's not going to hold after a few times. I'm going to leave them assembled myself. It just snaps in like that. You can see it doesn't even really make a sound when it snaps in, but it stays on okay, but like I said, I may glue it on myself. The model itself is really cool. Kind of a faceless mask there, but the forearms are really neat. And the base is just a mass of tentacles. He does have a dual base, so he's going to take up 2 slots on the battlefield, same as the cats from the original. He's also our first colorless unit. And he's also the boss in the scenario that comes with the pack. There's our Eldrazi Ruiner. He's a hero creature. He's colorless, has no color symbol, which means that he can be used by any of the Planeswalkers regardless of their color, which is kind of nice. There's his stats. 8 life, 5 move, range 1, 6 attack, 3 defense is kind of weak. His ability is Lash of Tentacles. At the start of a Eldrazi Ruiner's turn, deal 1 damage to all adjacent non-Eldrazi creatures. Have to watch because that can hurt your own guys as well. Doesn't say non-friendly, it says non-Eldrazi. So any of your other units, including your Planeswalker, can actually get hurt by him. Otherworldly, while being attacked by non-adjacent creatures, Eldrazi Ruiner gets +2 defense. Helps you against any of those ranged Planeswalkers or things like the Archers. And last we have Shepard of Saiyans. Deal 1 damage to Eldrazi Ruiner and place an Eldrazi Scion creature from your figure graveyard on an adjacent empty space. Use this ability once per turn. The nice thing, him being able to summon extra guys, but it hurts him. If you have a way to heal him, something to give him lifelink, or a spell in your deck that'll let you heal him, you can definitely use that multiple times throughout the game and really beef up your arsenal of guys. At the same time, he does have that 8 life, so it's going to take a while before it really affects him much. And last we have our Elder Scions. Again, they come unassembled. You just have to slap them onto the bases. But if you're going to keep them in the original box, you're going to be taking these on and off a lot, and definitely not worth the trouble in my opinion. I'm probably going to glue mine on there just to be done with it. They are kind of coded as to which goes with which base. There's a square, a circle, and a triangle hole. And there's one scion with each, so you know which one goes where. And they don't line up too well. I actually had to bend them quite a bit to get them to fit in place. Once you get them on there, they stay nice though. They really are a pain to get on the bases. I was so afraid I was going to break a leg off, but definitely should not come back off once you get them on there. I'm going to put a drop of glue in mine just to be sure. But interesting little guys. They remind me of Flood from Halo, if you're familiar with that game. Again, all 3 unique models though, kind of cool. Wish you got more than 3 of them. I realize there's a reason you only have 3 in the unit, but it would be cool to have a whole swarm of these. And there we have our Eldrazi Scions. 2 life, 7 movement, fast little guys. Range 1, 3 attack, 3 defend. They have an ability, Devour for speed. At the start of a turn of an Eldrazi hero character you control, you may destroy an Eldrazi Scion creature you control. If you do so, that hero creature gains +4 move until end of turn. Use this ability once per turn. Basically lets the Ruiner kill off one of these in order to gain +4 move for the turn. Interesting ability. And they have Devour for strength. At the start of the turn, an Eldrazi hero character you control may destroy an Eldrazi Scion creature you control. If you do, that Eldrazi hero creature gains +2 attack till end of turn. Use this ability once per turn. Same as the other one, lets you destroy one of these to gain that +2 attack. Interesting a combination of abilities. One thing I will say, I'm not sure why they went with this color for the Eldrazi units. Being that they're colorless, they should have been like a gray. Everything else in the game has been molded in plastic according to the colors, so it seems like an oddball choice for this. It does look cool on the table though, so maybe that has something to do with it, but it just seems a little bit odd that it's the only thing in the game that weren't molded in the right color plastic. Now, oddly enough, in the rulebook, it specifies that this little symbol here, is a unique symbol, meaning that you're only allowed one of these units in your force. But then at the same time, the actual Plainswalkers are the only units in the game right now that don't have those. So I'm not sure if the fact that every unit but the Plainswalkers is supposed to be unique, or they're unique because of their name in general anyway, like they are in the card game. But it just seems like an odd omission. So right now there's no reason to buy multiples of any set. If you're playing at home, we pretty much just ignore the unique symbols. And it gives you a reason to buy multiple sets. And that way you can use more than one of a unit like this or some of the other units, which are kind of interesting. It gives you a little bit more play when customizing or building your armies as well. And our new spell cards that come with this set, like with the units, you get 3 new spells for each of the colors. So you're going to have to combine them with the cards from the original set in order to make your full spell decks. But it gives you some more options for the existing Planeswalkers and some new stuff for the new guys. I'm not going to go through all the individual cards because it would just take too long, but for white we have Seize the Initiative, Sunlace, and Stasis Snare. For blue we have Anticipate, Scatter to the Winds, and Roll Mage's Trick. For black we have Demonic Appetite, Painful Truths, and Brilliant Swipe. For red we have Goblin Warpaint, Sure Strike, and Stubborn Resilience. And for green we have Wet Rapid Withdrawal, Earthen Arms, and Elvish Blade Finesse. I will say, as an expansion pack, it's definitely a lot of cool stuff here. Some variety that adds to your base game that's really going to make things more fun for that as well. For the price, I was a little disappointed at what you get compared to the original game. For what you're paying for the expansion, you're still getting a decent amount of stuff. Most places are charging $17 to $20 for it. The base game, depending on where you bought it from, was $20 to $30. So in the base game, you got 5 Planeswalker models, plus 30 squad models, plus the board pieces, plus the couple pieces of plastic terrain, which I was really hoping to see more of in this, and didn't get. And you got a couple of the building ruin pieces, as well as a really robust scenario book. This expansion, you're only getting 5, well, technically 7 squad models if you want to count the Ruiner and the Saiyans. You're getting 2 new Planeswalkers and a handful of spell cards. No terrain, no board pieces, only 1 scenario. So it's kind of a letdown in that respect. It lives up to what it says as an expansion to the base game, but compared price-wise for what you're getting to the base game, this one's kind of a letdown in that aspect. But compared to other games out there, you're still getting quite a bit for a very low price. Definitely worth the price for an expansion. Just a little bit of a letdown on some areas. Mainly things like the Ob Nixilis, you don't even get enough black units and black spells to actually play him with the base set alone, which means you're going to have to take units from the base game, which means whoever's playing Liliana in the base game is now missing pieces, so you got to kind of pick and choose who you can play. I mean, ideally, you could use him with the Scions or the Ruiner as his second unit or whatever to build up your points, because being colorless, they can be used by anybody, but you get the ideas. It really limits the combinations you can use, while at the same time giving more combinations to the older units. So there's a trade-off there. Like I said, for house rules, for home games, we got rid of the unique rule, allowing us to use 2 base sets, and eventually 2 of these sets, so that we can really mix and match, and there's no limitations for us. It also gives you more options for building spell decks. Right now, there's definitely not enough spell cards to build a full spell deck if you're going to use Liliana and Ob at the same time, and extremely limited if you're going to use Kiora and one of the green or blue Planeswalkers, depending. Overall, though, it's a cool expansion. The scenario that involves the Ruiner is actually really cool, and I hope they're going to put out more things like that, more theme packs in the future. They could publish a scenario book or put scenarios up online to download and have all sorts of new stuff. I know a lot of people have been making their own, and you can find custom homemade ones all over the place. Anyway, that's it for a look at this one, and we'll see you in the next video.